Hello everybody and welcome back to Paranorms. Today we're going to pick up where we left off talking about ghosts. If you haven't seen the first episode, the one actually talking about ghosts, go watch that now. For everyone else, well, let's get started. On the previous episode dealing with ghosts, we discussed the various things that can seemingly compose a haunting. But did you know that there are actually different types of hauntings? There are actually 5 distinct categories of hauntings, and I'll list them off for you right now. There is a residual haunting, there is an intelligent haunting, there is poltergeist activity, there is demonic activity, and finally, there are shadow people hauntings. The first category, a residual haunting, is essentially a moment in time, usually a moment of intense anger, pain, sadness, trauma, caught on a loop, replaying itself again and again. The spirit does not necessarily know it's a spirit, it just keeps redoing that same thing over and over for who knows how long. The second category is known as an intelligent haunting. In an intelligent haunting, the spirit knows it's a spirit, and it can, very much so, communicate with the living. The third category is known as poltergeist activity, and a lot of you might have heard this term before. Poltergeist is actually a German word for noisy ghost, and it's categorized differently than a normal ghost for a number of reasons. 1, you don't actually see a poltergeist. They tend to be invisible, as opposed to a ghost, which, on average, tends to show up as a visible apparition. 2, poltergeists interact with their environment. They move objects around, they throw furniture. Ghosts, again, on average, don't tend to do this. And finally, ghosts haunt locations, usually places they loved, places they were familiar with. Poltergeists, on the other hand, well, they haunt people. That's right, they tend to focus on one member of the family in particular, and they follow them around. So don't try moving houses, because they will follow you. If you guys want to see some really good examples of poltergeist hauntings, check out both my episodes on the haunting in San Pedro and the Bell Witch haunting. The fourth category of haunting is known as demonic activity. And when we use the term demonic, we're not necessarily referring to an evil Judeo-Christian spirit of sorts, but rather a non-human, parasitic, malicious entity which wants to physically inflict harm on you and your entire family. This brings us to the fifth and final category, shadow people hauntings. Now, shadow people are pretty self-explanatory in their description. They're described as the dark, shadowy outline of a person, sometimes standing in your peripheral vision, sometimes standing directly in front of you. The weirdest part about shadow people is, well, if you want to find out more about shadow people, go watch episode 1 of Insomnia. Now, these 5 types of hauntings would be pretty remarkable in and of themselves, but some people say that there is in fact a 6th category and possibly more beyond that. But we'll talk about that at a later time, so stay tuned.